365 Days of Horsemanship, day 190. Yeah, a lovely day today. I managed to get up to play with both horses in the daytime, which is really nice. Went to Mia first. I'm still working really hard on my consistency, and I think it was better, definitely better today, which is really positive. I think I have a tendency to catastrophize like all of the bad things, but actually, you know, like theoretically I've been doing all these things wrong for so long, and actually things are still fine. So improvement is just great, and it's a bonus, and that's really where I need to invest my energy. That's really what keeps that motivation, definitely. Yeah, it was good. It felt good. So I went up to get her. It was actually quite a nice approach. She felt quite connected. I just hung around, like moving around different places when she was at the hay bale. Just, you know, I come up, she's eating, she looks up at me, I stop, take a few breaths, just watching the environment, watching for mountain lions, and then either I then move again if I start moving if I feel like she's just been stuck focused on the hay for a long time, or I start moving, like I move one step if she looks at me again, or if she looks towards me and I have this feeling that she's wants me closer or she's irritated that I'm so far away, then I'll actually start walking until she goes back to the hay. So it's really like a feel thing where I'm just kind of moving around different places around her, just like a really soft approach, just trying to like read how she's feeling that day and just kind of slot into her world, into her life, you know. Like she's been in this field all day every day for however many days, you know, and I've come up, and actually, you know, I think it's a really polite and nice start to the session just to kind of integrate, I think is the right word. Yeah, so I did one of her plats, which was nice. Did irritate her a bit at the end because I was doing it just as some of the other horses were coming up, and she was quite irritated then, sort of like in a resting position, but with the ears quite far back. But she wasn't grazing, so I decided to try to halt her, which she was sort of like irritated about, but then yielded. And I was honestly pretty happy with that. I think, like, considering where we have been in the past, where it's been like, you know, me asking to put the halter on, and it being like a no, and all those sessions that I did where I literally was just trying to get the halter on. Any day where I can put the halter on like that, I'm really happy with that as progression, you know. Like, yes, it's not the end goal, but actually, you know, Rome wasn't built in a day, and I want her to have that opportunity to express herself, and I want to appreciate those little moments where, you know, the eye does come around to me and she sort of like does soften. And if I ask her for too much, if I say, well, you need to, you know, bend your neck around and do this and do that, then that just puts that brace in, and then she feels like, you know, like she's a servant or a slave, and like doesn't actually, you know, we're not actually friends. So yeah, popped the halter on, and it was a slow start. Definitely there was a lot of stopping and walking and stopping and walking initially. I think I could have had a better plan. I think because the last few times I've played with the fitness stuff, we've gone to different places and she's like had ideas about where she wants to go, and I've like kind of gone along with them. I think today I like had this, you know, airy fairy idea in my head that I would let her decide, but then because I didn't have a plan like at all, then there wasn't any focus or direction for us. So I think it's about always having a plan of where I want to go, and then altering that plan to suit her rather than coming with no plan. So that was a good lesson. Yeah, ended up taking her down to the bottom of the field that she's in. It was mostly actually walk today, and I think I probably could have started the trot faster. Yeah, I think she was quite like low energy, and the trot does definitely build her energy up. With that comes a lot of concern, But I think if I'd have started the trot sooner, I think I could have been trotting and like, you know, because it's literally like a few strides of trot and then been walking again for longer, rather than as it was, I sort of did all the walking until she seemed like she was quite bored of walking, and then we did trotting, and we'd been playing for a while by then, and I think I didn't feel that I had, you know, lots of time left, and so I wanted to do lots of trotting, whereas actually I think it would have been better balanced out throughout the session. Obviously it's important to do, you know, that 5-minute warm-up in the walk, but actually also it's okay to have a couple of transitions in that warm-up as well, especially, you know, when I've walked her, you know, obviously down the hill as well, and I think, you know, it's not too cold at the moment as well, which is good. So yeah, so it was a good session. There were some nice trot transitions, definitely, and I feel that my request, I just worked really hard on just like phase 1, phase 2, little spaghetti phase 3, and then the big windmill phase 4, like from Pat's clinic and from Pat Parelli's clinic, and actually that was really helpful for my consistency. I think definitely Pat and Ben Atkinson, I think, are the two people at the moment that I think the most about in terms of my technique. I think there's a lot from the foundation perspective in Parelli that perhaps I could go back and re-review. And I also think that when I'm playing with Mia now, I have this, like, Ben Atkinson has his like 3 C's: clarity, consistency, and confidence. He talks about being clear in your cues, being consistent in always asking for the same technique or the same movement in the same way, and those 2 things building confidence. And I think what I haven't had before is the consistency. I think I've been clear in some ways, but then I think I've not always been consistent. I also think I'm not really always sure exactly where I should be. I think, you know, in order to be consistent, you have to kind of decide on an aid. You have to decide on how you're going to ask for that thing, and I think that feels like a big decision for me. I don't really know how I'm going to ask for that in order to make it always the same, and not, you know, and I guess it's okay to adapt it later on, but I think I just always find myself like adapting it every session when I think that like it needs to be different, which obviously then isn't consistent. Excuse me. So yeah, if I had all the time and money in the world, I probably would maybe have a lesson with Ben. I think that could be good. Yeah, just get some new things to work on, some new things to have fun with. We'll see. I'm so busy at the moment. I just can't wait for January. I finished my course in January. I'm going to be qualifying at work at a higher grade, getting a pay rise, which is all great, but I've got all this studying still to do. So it's been long. But hopefully in January, taking a year off of studying just to really enjoy the horses. So hopefully in January, maybe I'll have some time for that. So until then, I guess I just need to build up some questions and keep trying on my own and doing my best, really. Yeah, I had a nice session with Lawrence too. Came over to him. Initially, I felt quite like there was a lack of connection. I had my tripod again with my camera, and it was a real distraction for me as well, which I found really annoying. But I just have to keep pressing on with it. Definitely some of the other horses in the herd are really interested in it. And I don't want them knocking it over and then standing on it or anything like that. Mostly just because it's dangerous for everybody. And also, obviously, I don't want them to break it, but things are replaceable. But yeah, it just means that like every time someone wants to come over and like have a sniff and push it around, then I have to like go over and move it or move them, and it's like, oh. But I just need to just keep pushing on with it, because the only way everyone's going to get used to it and bored of it and uninterested in it is if it's just here all the time. And I just have to stick it out. Yeah, so that definitely took me a while to kind of get into the session. But I think it also gave me some confidence, because like I actually inspired some curiosity in Lawrence a couple of times when I was like telling the other horses to leave this alone, which was good. Definitely brought him up from the grass. And also I think it gave me some confidence. I started actually with the touching distance to kind of provoke him into coming out of comfort, and I only really needed just to touch him. And it does provoke him into a little bit of flight, but it's not usually so much that I can't go with it. And also after that, he then like, it was like he sort of like came up from the grass and went, oh, actually, can I have some scratches? Can I have this? Can I have that? And then we had this like window of opportunity where we could be connected. And I think that gave me some confidence in like just introducing myself a bit more proactively. You know, I don't need to wait all the time for him to magically look up from the grass and want to be my friend. You know, I can actually say, hey, by the way, hello, I'm here, and allow him to then make his decisions about that, you know. So yeah, I think I'm still teetering on the edge of what's okay in terms of the touching distance, because there's still a lot of times where when I go to touch him, he like starts walking immediately, and then sometimes I walk away, sometimes I don't, and I just think I'm still uncertain as to what exactly is happening, so I can make better decisions. But I think I got a little bit of that on video today, so I'm going to try to post that in the group, and hopefully Elsa will be able to give me some advice about it. We had some nice scratches and massages today, and I had a beautiful moment where I was able to touch my hand on his face, where he was having a really good think about what happened, a really good process of me massaging his neck, which was really nice. And yeah, he seems really trusting of me in that area now. I think it is really helping him, and it's really nice to do that with him, definitely. So yeah, so it was a good session. It was a good session, definitely. I was really happy with it, and yeah, happy to come back tomorrow and see what else we can do.